All right, guys, welcome back. Let's go ahead and jump into lesson 3 of our workbook. So go ahead and open up your workbook and we'll get started with the thinking out loud portion. If we read there at the top, it says the 3 students are working on a problem. Let me go ahead and share you my document camera and we can work through it together. Okay, here we go. So it says if 1 bucket and 4 marbles equals 2 buckets and 1 marble, then what number or numbers can the bucket represent? All right. I never thought about it before. We're just reading through here. It says, I never thought about it before, but that statement uses an equal sign even though the 2 sides don't look the same. Okay. And this may be where they go wrong. They're going off of looks, and we shouldn't base our decisions only on looks. Okay. And Jay says they aren't the same, but they do have the same value. Okay. So what he's saying is this side over here total has the same value as that right side over there. And that's what it means to be equal. So the question is, when do they have the same value? When will it be true? When will this side have the same value of that side? We need to figure out what has to be in the bucket for the 2 sides to be the same. Since each bucket holds the same amount, I can remove the matching buckets because that won't affect the balance. Okay, which is what we've kind of talked about before in lesson 2 with the mobiles. We just kind of crossed out the things that paired up, and that's what he did here. He crossed this out and this out because they paired up. And Jay writes a new equation. 4 marbles equals a bucket and 1 marble. Jay says that leaves us with 4 marbles and 1 bucket, 1 marble. And we can remove the matching ones. So they draw an X through the matching marbles. So a bucket equals 3. That makes sense. If a bucket equals 3, then so they're working this left side here. 1 bucket and 3 marbles is 7, because you got 3 plus 4 is 7. And 2 buckets and 1 marble equals 7, which is 3, 3 and 1, so 6 and 1. So they are equal, and that will be the only time that they're equal. So let's work on number 1 here. So if a bucket equals 2, would the statement a bucket and 4 marbles equals 2 buckets and 1 marble be true? Why or why not? Okay, so we're actually going to use a substitution property here to do this. So this bucket is worth 2, and this bucket is worth 2, and this bucket is worth 2. So if we divide these sides up, I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on this side, and 2, 3, 4, 5 on this side. Well, we know that 6 does not equal 5. So it is not true. Okay, because the 2 sides don't equal. Okay, and again, they figured out up here that the only way they will be equal is if a bucket equaled 3. Okay. All right, let's continue with the thinking out loud here at the bottom. Jay says, I started in a completely different way. I knew that 1 bucket plus 4 marbles is the same as 2 buckets plus 1. So I pictured them balancing on a mobile. This is what we did in lesson 2 here. So he drew it on the mobile. Oh, because they're equal, the 2 sides have to balance. Okay, remember I stated that you could put an equal sign there if you wanted. Okay, because it denotes that they're equal and that they are balanced. Jay says, yeah, we can imagine the buckets and the ones hanging from the strings, just like before. The bucket holds my original number, but we can't see inside. Anyway, I saw the top of each side is a bucket, and the bottoms both have ones. So the middles have to match up too. Okay, so what he's saying is he crossed out that and he paired that up because they match, and then everything in the middle also has to match. Michael says, I get it. To make it balance, that bucket on the right has to weigh the same as the 3 ones on the left. That's how the chunks of stuff match up. So they're chunking it up. Okay. So we're gonna start some mobile puzzles here, and instead of just using buckets and marbles, we're gonna start transitioning into some other shapes of that kind of stuff. So if we flip the page here, okay, and let's just look at some of these. So every beam in the mobiles is balanced. The strings and the beams weigh nothing. Find the weight of each shape. So down here it's asking you, like, what does the pentagon equal? What does this equal? All of those kind of things. Okay, so they're kind of matching puzzles here and trying to figure it out. So let's work a couple here. Okay, so we're gonna cross out the things that match, because if they are matching, they really don't matter. They weigh the same on each side. And here I have one bucket and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 marbles. And I know a marble is worth 1. So this bucket has to equal all 5 of those, which are each worth 1. So that bucket has to be worth 5 total. Remember, the balance beams have to stay balanced, so they can't be lopsided or anything. Now here, in number 3, they've changed it. They no longer have marbles or anything like that. But they do give me a clover is 2. Okay, so we can cross these 2 middle ones out because they balance. And I have 2 clovers over here and 1 pentagon over here. So I know that a pentagon is 2 clovers. Well, down here it says the clover is worth 2. So this is 2 and this is 2. So this whole thing right here has to equal both of those added up, which would be 4. So you get 2 plus 2 is 4. Now there's another way we can look at this, and I'll show you that here on the next one, that I think is just a little more tricky. Okay, so here we know that a star is 3, so that means there's 3 here, 3 here, 3 here, 3, 3, 3. Okay, if I add up all of these, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars. If I add up all those 3s, I get that this side is 15. That means this whole thing here is going to have to equal 15. But I already have 3. Okay? Which means that these 2 will have to equal, well, let's see. This plus 3's got to equal 15. So this has to equal 12. Okay? Because you got 12 plus 3 gives you 15. In order for these to equal 12, both of these have to be the same. They have to be equal. We're going to split that 12 into these 2 shapes. So they're each going to be worth 6. And again, add it up. You got 6 plus 6 is 12, plus 3 gives you the 15 that matches over there. So this is 6. Again, you can cross them out if you want to help figure it out. I'm going to leave this number 5 here for you to kind of figure it out. And let's go ahead and go down here to this 7. This one kind of looks kind of hard. And you can see they've kind of already started that same method, right? So this whole line equals 18, which means this has to equal 18, okay? And if in order for this to balance at 18, both of these sides have to be the same. Well, I know that this is 6, okay? And we cross these out. So 1 leaf equals 2 stars. Well, they got to divide evenly. So that means each star will be worth 3. Now, you got a little question mark here as to what those equal. Well, if I take 18 and divide it into 2 equal parts, that will give me a 9 and a 9. So I know that these have to equal 9. Okay, this is just another way to figure it out. So if I need 9, but I already have 6, that means I got to add 3 more to it. So 6 plus 3 gave you that 9 up there. Okay, which is what we figured out, that each star is worth 3. So 3, 3, 3, that equals 9 as well. Okay, let's do a couple more here. We'll come down here to number 11. Okay, 11 has to equal 44 total. Okay, that means I'm going to divide 44 in half among each of these sides. So that gives me 22 and 22. Okay, I just divide it in half. It says a star is 12. Okay, so here, this star right here is 12. So in order to get the leaf, some number plus 12 gives me 22. So that would be 10. So 10 plus 12 gives me that 22. So that clover is worth 10. Okay, so here I know that this is worth 12. But this thing has to equal what that clover is, because those kind of mark out, so they really don't matter. Okay, but it took away some numbers so that I could figure out this clover. Now I know this has to equal 10, but there's 2 butterflies on each. So to split that 10 in half, I got 5 and 5. Okay, here I'll leave number 10 for you. You got to fill out the final weight on that one. Okay. All right, let's flip it over. Stuff to make you think here, okay? Number 12. If a triangle is 2 circles, does 3 triangles equal 4 circles and a triangle? Is that true? Okay, well, a triangle is 2 circles. So really I have 2 circles, 2 circles, 2 circles. Okay, you notice I could do this a little bit differently. I just thought of, I've got a triangle on both sides. What happens if we cross them out? It's still going to be balanced. Okay, so I got 2 circles, a total of 4 circles. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4. So does it equal? Yes, it does. Okay. And I like to always have work on my math problems, and all of this crossing out and writing the little numbers, that's all work. If a hexagon is 3 hearts, does this equal this? Again, think of the balance beam, and we can start crossing things out and reducing the problem into a smaller problem. So I'm going to mark out 2 hexagons and 2 hexagons, and I'm going to mark out this heart with this heart. And so we have 2 hearts equals a hexagon. Does 2 hearts equal a hexagon? No, actually 3 hearts is a hexagon. So is this true? No, and I've got work there to prove that. All right, let's look at number 15 here. I'll leave 14 for you. Okay, well, let's do 14. Okay, I know the total here is 32. I'm going to divide it in half here. Okay, so 32 divided by 2 is 16. So you got 16 on each side. Now let's look at these leaves. I got 4 leaves that have to add up to 16. So what number added up 4 times is the same? Or you can take this 16 and start splitting it into all 4 of these groups. This is 16 divided by 4, which is 4. 4, 4, 4. If you're having troubles with that, you can use Google as a calculator to kind of help you out on some of these. So a leaf is 4. So I got this leaf right here is also 4. Well, I know that this bar has to balance here. So I got 4 on this side has to equal 2 of these kites. Okay? So if I split 4 into 2 groups, that will give me 2 and 2. So I know a kite is worth 2. Now remember, this whole thing on this side, this whole side over here has to equal 16. You got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that means this has to represent the remaining numbers needed. So I had 8, I got to get to 16. 8 plus what number will get you to 16? That's right, that's 8. Okay. All right, I'll let you work through a couple of those, see if you got some questions. Oh, this is kind of review, but you notice here, we've got some decimals. Okay, we got some decimals in here, got some fractions in here. Let's work through this one. So first we want to find a pattern. Okay, so look in here, I go from 12 to 24. I go to 2.4 to 4.8. 15 to 30. What is happening there? Don't really look too much at this. Okay, what's happening here? From here to here, from here to here, from here to here. Those numbers are doubling. So we're gonna times 2. So I need a picture here. So that means I got 2 buckets and 12 marbles. So right over here, times 2. Okay, so you just go multiply it by 2. So 35 times 2 is 70. 1.1 times 2 is 2.2. 27 times 2 is 54. And I got to go the other way, so we're dividing by 2. So that's 41. Oh, I forgot to multiply this one by 2. This one's going to be tricky, okay? Multiplying 1/2 by 2. You may need to get out that calculator. Remember, 1/2 is the same as 0.5 if you want to do that. But since they give me a fraction, I want my answer to also be in a fraction. Okay, so 1/2 times 2. What do you get? I'll give you a second here to get that figured out. Having troubles? That's okay. Think about it. I've got 1/2 times 2, or 1/2 plus 1/2. If you have 2 halves and you add them together, you get a whole. Okay, going this way, we're dividing by 2. 0 divided by 2 is 0. And then this way, we're dividing by 2. -2 divided by 2 is -1. Okay, a little bit tricky on that one. Okay, but we made it through it. Let's do one of these. Okay, this tough stuff. Okay, let's just start with 18 here, and then I'll kind of let you work through this. There was one of these on the last one, so it shouldn't be that tough here. So you got 1, 2, 3 stars equals a 10 and 2 and 1 star. So what's 1 star? So I'm gonna mark out this star, mark out this star. So now I have 2 stars equals 10. 2 stars equals 10. Well, I got to take this 10 and divide it into the 2 different stars, making 5 in each star. Now we can double check this. 5 plus 5 plus 5 equals 10 plus 5. I just plugged the 5 in every time I saw a star. So 5 plus 5 plus 5 gave you 15, and 10 plus 5 is also 15, so it balances out, okay? So work through some of these puzzles here, trying to figure them out, the rest, and then the next video, I will fill in all the ones that we didn't do. You can also get started on the additional practice here on page 14 if you would like. That is what your quiz will be going over, and you can surely do maybe a couple of those as you're going through it, okay? And we will see you in the next lesson.